Every day, Lord, I learn to stand upon your word, and I pray that I might come to know you more, that you would guide me in every single step I take, and every day I can be a light unto the world. Every day is you I live for. Every day I follow after you. Every day I walk with you, my Lord. Every day, Lord, I learn to stand upon your word, and I pray that I might come to know you more, that you would guide.
Hi, my name is Paul. I want to talk to you a little bit about a great story in the Bible that I love, and it's a story about a father that rejoiced. A rejoicing father is what I want to entitle this, because I really love it. Now, you may know this story is something else, and I'm not going to tell you what that is right now because you'll guess it right off. But I want to go over to Luke chapter 15, and if you want to just take your Bible and go there and read with me this story, then go right ahead. In Luke chapter 15, Jesus Christ is talking here. And let's go down into verse 11, and I'm just going to read this story. Like I said, you're going to recognize this story because you've heard it preached. But I want to come from a different angle with it. Luke chapter 15, verse 11. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country. He set off for a distant country, and there he squandered his wealth in wild living." Now, you know what this is now. Most people like to preach it as the prodigal son, but I want to talk about the rejoicing father in this. Now, right here, you can imagine, you wonder, how's a father a rejoicing father? Because his son comes to him and he says, "Father, give me everything I have, because I'm out of here, I'm leaving, I'm going." Now, I can imagine at this point the father was downcast, sad, but he did it. He gracefully divided everything up, it says, and between the 2 sons, and he gave this son that asked for it what belonged to him, his inheritance, everything that was of his. And the son took it and went far away. Now, long after that, the son got together all he had. I read that. In verse 14, after he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, that country where he went. And he began to be in need. Verse 15, so he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country. He sent him to his fields to feed pigs. To feed pigs of all things. That's what he sent him out to do. Because he didn't have nothing else. He squandered everything he had and he went there. Now he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating. But no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired men have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. I will set out." Now we know this story. He says, "I'm going to set out." He said, "I'm going to set out. I'm going to gather all that I still have," which is basically nothing because he squandered everything. Verse 18, "I will set out, go back to my father, say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men.' So he got up and went to his father." Now we know this story. The son feels bad. He realizes, man, I should have never left. I should have never done this, and I squandered it all. Even my father's servants, who are not even his children, are living better than this, and I'm going to go back. We know that, and that's what he did. He rehearsed to himself what he was going to say to his father. He didn't even want his father's blessing. He just wanted a better place than where he was at in the pig's pen, eating the slop of the pigs and all that stuff. But anyway, he knew that his father would probably at least give him something, a little bit better shelter, a little bit better food, something better than what he was, because he knew where he came from. He knew his inheritance that his father had given to him, but he also knew that he did something that disrespected his father, and he left his father's house, and he went out, and he squandered away everything that the father had given. So here he is. He's going back to his father, and he goes back with this attitude, knowing and understanding that everything that my father had for me, he's already given to me, but maybe as a servant. That's what he was thinking. If I go back as a servant, then maybe my father will give me a little bit better. And so he makes up this whole thing. I'm going to say to my father, which is really true, I sinned against you, Father. I don't deserve to be your son anymore. I mean, I should just be nothing more than an outcast. And so let's read on here and see what it says. Now, when he came to, let's see, we're down in verse 19. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men. So make me like a servant. Make me like one of your slaves, one of your hired men, basically, who's not part of the family, who just are working for you. So he got up, he went to his father, and he's thinking about all this, rehearsing what he's going to say. But this is where I love it. It gets down to this. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Now here you have a picture of the father. The father, sadly at that time, he gave everything he had to his son because he asked for it. He gave him his inheritance, and I'm sure he was very sad. But you know what I believe? I believe this father always knew that his son was going to return to him. He knew that his son would go out and fail probably because he was immature, number one, because he come and he asked too soon for his inheritance. But his father gave it to him. And the father always, I believe he always looked for his son. Every morning, I can imagine that this father got up with faith, believing that he was going to see his son. Why else would he be looking? Why would he have seen him? It says while he was far off, while he was still far off, a long ways off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son. Now picture the father running. The father runs to his son, throws his arms around him, embraces him, and kisses him. Then, now the son, you remember he's been rehearsing all this, the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer to be worthy. I am no longer worthy. I'm no longer worthy, Father, to be called your son anymore. Father, I'm not worthy. So he's telling this to him, everything that he rehearsed that he was going to say. And you know what? This is what's awesome to me. The father, he didn't even respond to his son and what he said about this. Listen, he said, now the son just got through saying, I'm not worthy. I've sinned against you. I'm not worthy. The father cuts him off. And the father turns to one of the servants after he kissed him and everything, and after his son says this to him, I'm not worthy. The father turns to his servant, quick, he says, go bring the best robe, put it on him, put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring, he says, bring. Listen to what this father says. Bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let's have a feast. Let's celebrate, he says. Verse 24, this son of mine, he was dead and is alive again. And if you want to talk, if you have any questions, give me a call. or send me an email. Email's on this video. Send me an email, and we'll talk. We'll get together. If you need prayer, send me an email. We'll pray. Let's just be blessed and serve the Lord together. And you have a great and blessed day or night. And I will talk to you next time.
Every day, Lord, I learn to stand upon your word, and I pray that I might come to know you more, that you would guide me in every single step I take, and every day I can